So, you've been doing the manifesting, you have shifted your beliefs, you've let go of old beliefs, and you've probably even had those moments of clarity where you realized, wait a minute, I really believe it. I really believe my manifestation is coming. How did I do that? That's awesome. Does that ever happen to you? Anybody that's spent any amount of time learning about the law of attraction and forming a new belief about what it is that you want, you've probably had a breakthrough or two just like that. And it's astonishing, it's shocking and beautiful to you at the same time because it is. It's like, how did I do that? I actually believe that this thing is coming. But there's just one problem. The ego mind, it's going to try to creep in, sneak in, and take over again, right? And remember, one of the first things that I talked about on this channel was how that's not you. So it's actually very easy to fix that. And of course, I'll tell you exactly, what that is, how that works, how to do that. But I just want to be clear about what I'm explaining here, which is, yeah, you've done all this inner work. You've caused yourself to believe that what you desire is real and it's coming no matter what you do. It's like it's inevitable. You believe it. But then it's like a few days later or a week or something, the ego starts to take over and you think that it's you, right? So that's kind of what the question is like, well, I worked on manifesting this thing and I believed it, but now I doubt that it's coming. I don't know what to do. How long is this going to take? How is it going to show up? When is it going to come? Right? The ego starts asking all of these questions. And again, you think that you are, right? So maybe I should have just started out that way and I should have just said, well, now you think you're going to manifest this thing, you really believe it, and then a week later, you feel like, oh, wait, when is it going to come? And you start to doubt it, and you're like twiddling your thumbs, and it's something along those lines. I mean, it might be slightly different experience for each of you. Um, and of course, there's going to be a million people on the internet telling you to just let go and trust, right? And that's true, but then, it sounds too complicated. Like, how do I do that? Right. I'll demystify that for you. But that's the problem. Basically, that's the thing. Again, you believe that this thing is coming, and then a week later, it's like you start thinking about it. Like, well, when is it coming? How is it coming? And then all of a sudden, you find that you're focused on the absence of it, and that's a problem too, right? You don't want to do that either. But what I'm telling you is that that's not you. You are not the mind. You are not the thinker. Okay. So, what do you do while your manifestation is coming? Well, number one, and there's number two is going to be like activities that you could be doing, right? Um, which is what the ego understands, the ego mind, right? So when I say ego, I'm talking about the persona, the person, the mask, which we wear when we, as a spiritual being, which exists beyond this physical realm, we choose to wear this ego mask, this persona, this personality when we come down here into density, right? The ego mind starts to worry about loss and it only understands linearity, like linear time, duality. The mind is duality. The ego mind, that's where that yin yang symbol comes from. So I'm here and I got to get there, right? That's why the ego mind is concerned about outcomes. And again, what I'm telling you is that that's not you. You are consciousness. You are the conscious awareness. So before I go any further, let me just remind you, or anybody that's maybe new to my YouTube channel here, I'm going to link down below for you my, I think it's called Basics of Manifesting, my playlist. Yeah, the Basics of Manifesting. So how to get the law of attraction to start working for you. And it's kind of the secret sauce that makes it work that some law of attraction teachers take the time to explain, like Neville Goddard. I just heard a, a recording of him where he was talking about this, and it was very, very refreshing because, usually they don't talk about it. Law of attraction teachers, and they're not doing it because they're doing anything wrong. It's kind of like when you learn to ride a bike and then 30 years later you try to explain to somebody how to do it. You don't even realize some of the things that you're doing as you're riding the bike. So you kind of you don't think to explain it to people. You just do it, and I think that's kind of um something that is lost on people that are new to the law of attraction, is the masters that are trying to teach you how to do it. They leave that part out because they don't even think about it, because it's not even thinking. It's just so ingrained in their life. So they're not hiding anything. Like I've said, like law of attraction teachers, like almost all of them on the internet that you see, they're good. They're good. You're getting truth from all of them, but it's just kind of that blind spot. I'll link the Neville Goddard recording down below for you too, because he talks about this. He talks about how consciousness is fundamental. You're a soul. Consciousness is who you really are. You're not really the mind, which is thinking and emotions. That's the mind. It works on duality, right? Yin and yang, past, future. It's linear, right? It looks to an outcome, and it's existing in this illusion of 3D density. So it's like a week after you have some kind of a breakthrough and your miracle is coming, the mind, it tries to take over again. And again, you think that that's you. You think you are the mask. You're not, right? And I'll come back to that again if you're new to my channel. If that doesn't really make sense to you right now, it will in just a moment. But the ego, it takes over and it starts to doubt because it only exists in duality, in this linear, dense reality that we live in, and it sees that the miracle isn't there. And so it starts asking, well, how is it going to show up? Like, what things are going to transpire to bring it to me? When is it going to show up? And then if you believe yourself to be that mask, that ego personality, the mind, the thinker, right? If that's where you derive your primary sense of identity from, instead of the consciousness, the spiritual being, right? Which is not an identity. It's not a personality type. So again, I'm going to get into that very deeply in a few moments. But the ego mind, it takes over. And then if you go down that path deeper and deeper, you get to the point where you worry about it and you doubt, and now you're more focused on the lack of your miracle than the presence of it. Okay? So that's what to not do. What to do, again, we're going to talk about that last. That's going to be number 2. We're still kind of talking about this first thing, which is like why that happens. Like, how do you end up going from the place where you really believe it to the part where you're doubting it? Well, it's because of the ego. And we as humans, we have forgotten who we really are beyond this body and mind. So remember, your body, mind, soul, right? So the body, we're pretty clear what that is. The mind, we've been talking about that. It's thought, emotion. It works on duality. It perceives itself as separate from all, right? So Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle, Rupert Spira, all the great masters, Yogananda, they always talk about how separation is the perception of, or the mental perception of reality. Like, I am me and that is all that out there, and I am separate from it. And that's not true. Who you are now beyond the mind, the soul. So we just talked about body and mind. Now the soul is union. It's unity with all. It's one with all, right? It bridges that gap beyond the illusion of physical separation down here in density. That's who you really are, okay? And it's consciousness. It's not a thought. It's not an emotion. So, see, in contrast, the ego mind, so body, mind, soul, the ego mind is this conglomeration of retained thought and emotional patterns that you've been accumulating since you were a child, right? I think this video is going to have to go on that playlist, by the way, the basics of manifesting. Um, so the ego mind. So think about a newborn baby, because even a psychologist is going to tell you, everybody knows that like your personality, like who you're going to be as a person, as a mortal human, a personality, the ego mind, what that's going to be, it really starts to congeal right around the age of 8 or 9, right? Seven, somewhere between like 7 and 9. Okay. Well, what that is a collection of retained thought and emotional patterns. Well, what about a newborn baby? So if the newborn baby doesn't have a personality, what is it? What is it doing? Well, right? Like, because again, to break this mold that you are these thoughts and emotions, these experiences you have had, right? What job you're doing, who your family members are, places you've been, experiences that you've had, beliefs that you have, political beliefs, whatever it is, all that stuff. It's all concept and form, right? To break that mold, and which, by the way, is what supercharges your your ability to manifest. Again, I'll link Neville Goddard down below for you. He did talk about this quite a bit. I want to say it's, gosh, was it somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes into the talk that I'm going to post down below for you. He starts talking about consciousness. And again, other law of attraction teachers, they all talk about it. They all do. They just don't emphasize it a lot because again, it's like riding the bike. They just kind of know how to do it, so they don't think to, oh, wait, I got to explain this part to people in more depth, because this is the part that everybody, when you get this part about consciousness, your manifesting game gets so much easier, guys. So much easier. It's unbelievable how it supercharges your manifesting game. Anyway, back to the newborn baby. So, what does the newborn baby have going on that the 8-year-old does have, but doesn't realize that it has anymore because it believes now itself to be this person, this ego mind identity form? Well, the newborn baby is just aware, it's just consciousness, right? So, with a newborn baby, there's no like thinking and emotional patterns, there's no thought retention, right? Those memories, emotional experiences, emotional memories too. That's kind of the subconscious. It has none of that. It has no identity. It's just this being, the newborn baby. Okay. Do you understand? So with an adult or even an 8-year-old, apparently, there's thoughts and emotions going on. And you as an adult, have you ever said to yourself, as you're thinking or feeling something, have you ever said, why am I thinking this? Like, why am I feeling these emotions? What's right? I don't know. It's just you noticed that there's certain thoughts and feelings going on, right? You ever done that? Everybody's done that. Okay. How can there be awareness of thinking and emotion? Who is asking? What is it that is aware of thinking and emotion? And the answer is in that question there. There is awareness apart from thinking and emotion, right? Body, mind, soul. The soul is consciousness, almost all consciousness. It's just pure awareness. It doesn't think, it doesn't feel emotions. People try to assign all kinds of roles and mechanics to the soul, but there can be none because it's not duality. There can be no mechanics. There's no feminine, masculine energy to the soul. There's none of that. There's no duality. There's no separation. It's just all oneness. Okay? It's a monad. It's non-dual. It's just pure being. It's not being anything in particular. It's just being. The personality, the ego mind, in contrast, can be this or that. So think of it. Here's an analogy that I use with my law of attraction coaching students. Um, the soul is like pure water, like reverse osmosis, pure, clean water, right? It's just being. The personality is like adding flavoring and food coloring and sugar and stuff like that to the water. And now it can be any particular thing. And this is the big secret, guys. This is the code breaker. Joe Dispenza, he's going to tell you all day long, if you reprogram your personality, you can reprogram your personal reality, right? If you reprogram the ego, the thinking and the beliefs that you have and the feelings especially, that's where it's at. That's where it counts. That's where the universe is going to match you. What's your being, that emotional state that you're always continuously in. If you reprogram your personality, you reprogram your personal reality. The universe matches your persona, right? But here's the thing. There's a you that reprograms the personality. It's this intelligence. And the mind is not the source of intelligence, guys. It's the spiritual being, body, mind, soul, the spiritual soul, the spiritual being where that creativity and intelligence comes from. Eckhart Tolle talks about this all the time. And he's right. All the great masters have. Buddha talked about it, Jesus. They all talk about it. Krishnamurti, right? This is why I have all my students start by reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. If you want to drastically supercharge your manifesting game, start with that book. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I've coached over 7,000 spiritual students, right? So this YouTube channel, it's pretty new. I just kind of started it, but I'm on other platforms. I've been at this for a while, and this is kind of working, guys. This is the secret. This is the thing about like what makes this work. Like how, like when I'm riding the bike, what is it that makes the thing go? It's not even any, I mean, there's techniques to riding the bike, but there's energy there too. And that's the part, again, that's the part that seems to be underemphasized by a lot of teachers, even though everything else they're telling you is spot on. No problem. I love all of them. I listen to any law of attraction teacher. Everything they have to tell you is spot on, guys. But this is kind of this blind spot that I think when you sit down and explain it to people, it answers so many questions, guys. Okay. To reprogram the personality, the ego mind, means that you have to be coming from that inner being of consciousness first. And again, there are people on the internet that are confused about that, and they're kind of try to assign all kinds of roles and belief systems to the soul. So watch out for that. You know, the New Agers, they like to do that kind of stuff. Nice enough people, great people, right? No problem. But there is that confusion there. They assign like mental and emotional roles to the soul. It's none of that, guys. When you experience that deeper being of just pure consciousness, pure being, there's no identity. There's no form. There's no emotional or thought form. And it's an unexplainable experience because an explanation is a concept. It's a thought. And we're not saying that's bad. That's just what that is, right? But this, you guys, who you really are beyond all of that, beyond those thought and emotional forms, beyond the mask of personality, who you really are is this unexplainable, deeper spiritual essence of consciousness. And when you realize that and you align with that first, it makes wearing the mask a lot more fun because you realize, wait, I can redecorate this mask any way I want to. You guys, I'm a narcissism survivor. I used to be a real people pleaser. and it made me miserable. And I had many blow ups in my life because of that. I reprogrammed all of that shit, guys. I'm free of all of it. And let me tell you something, I'm about as free as it gets. I'm free, guys. I'm abundant. I have an abundance of time. I don't have to work a lot. I've got wonderful friends. I enjoy life. And you guys, I'm not worried about the future, which brings us back to kind of the purpose of this video, which is, well, what do I do while I'm waiting for my miracle? Be. Just be. So let's get into talking point number 2, which is, okay, well, what do I do? Nothing. You don't need to worry about it. There is one thing that you can do. Be grateful. Like when I think about all of the things that I've been shown, I keep a journal. I've got 3 of them that I've filled. Well, 2 are full and 1 I'm about halfway through. Of all these incredible like psychic experiences, not just telepathy, not a lot of that, but most of what I get is in here, intuition, in my heart especially, and then in my sacral. I get a lot of sacral responses, right? Because I'm a manifesting generator. Um, and these things together are kind of showing me what the future holds for me, right? And I get very excited about that. But the thing is, from again, from the limited perspective of the mortal human, who we have this mask of ego that only operates through duality. That's all it can do. That's what it's for. It's not defective. Excuse me. It's not defective because it's doing that. That's what it's for, right? But the ego mind can only perceive separation. It can only see I'm here and there's this outcome. And when the outcome is not present in your reality, the ego, it tends to fixate on that. It's really easy to shut that down. You are not that. Again, read The Power of Now. If you're kind of unclear what I'm talking about, there's a movie. I'll link it down below for you. It's called Samadhi. There's 3 parts. Obviously, start with part 1 or the other. They won't make sense to you, but it's free. It's on YouTube. It's only like an hour. Even if you just watch the first one only, that's good enough. You guys, you're going to watch that movie and you're going to be like, oh, fuck, I get it. You can't explain samadhi. Again, it's consciousness. It's this unexplainable cosmic force beyond concept, right? So watch Samadhi. I'll link that down below for you. Let's see. What have I got? So down below, I'm going to link the playlist, the Neville Goddard talk, and then Samadhi. Okay. And then read The Power of Now. Well, anyway, to shut down when the ego wants to fixate on the absence of your manifestation is so easy. You are not that. You are not the thinking, feeling, emotional, mental entity. The ego is an entity. I call it the identity entity, right? It's the identity entity. It's not really life. You are life, but who are you? Remember, body, mind, soul. Who are you really? Well, beyond the body and mind, you're the soul. What is that consciousness? An unexplainable cosmic force. It has no form. It has no identity. It's just being. It's oneness. And it's one with all, right? To the point where it's not even one with all. It's just, there's just one thing. There's just me. And that's it. There's just I, right? So it's very easy for you to go, wait, so as soon as doubt or the fixation on the lack of your manifestation, your miracle, creeps in a little bit, you shut that down by going, wait, that's not me. That's just a story. It's this program that I used to believe I am, but I am not that. I am consciousness. The name of the first chapter of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, you ready for this? It's called You Are Not Your Mind. That's the most basic teaching of genuine spiritualism. All the big name spiritual masters, Buddha, Jesus, Yogananda, Eckhart Tolle, all Ram Dass, Alan Watts, Krishnamurti, all of them, right? That is the only thing that you need. That is spiritualism in a nutshell. You are not your mind. You are consciousness. It's none of this other new age gobbledygook, which is all fine and fun to do. I like all that stuff. I got crystals and incense, I like that kind of stuff. But that's all part of the mask. And I have to admit, the like metaphysical things that you could be doing and the reprogramming and stuff. The only people that seem to be interested in that part of reality are spiritual people. So that's why a lot of those types of things get lumped in with spiritualism, and people tend to think that's what spiritualism is, right? Astrology, crystals, and those types of things. But that's really just metaphysics. And that's fine. But that's part of the mental universe. No problem. Totally great. I do that stuff. Human design, astrology, crystals. I'm all about it. I read tarot cards, you know what I'm saying? But I realize that the true core of spiritualism is consciousness. It's this being. And so it's easy for me to snap out of the illusion of Maya, right? Which is what the Samadhi movie is about. So the illusion of Maya, the illusion of separation, the illusion of self, the illusion of me, this identity, ego form, right? The mask, which when people live through that, it makes them miserable and it makes our whole world miserable. Have you looked at around our world lately? Right? But when you remember who you are, it makes wearing the mask a lot of fun. And you learn how to play with it. You're playful with the mask and you have fun with it. And you guys, again, I've gotten rid of all this toxic, narcissistic garbage that I had shoved down my throat for years by the people around me when I was a lot younger. And now that I've taken that dead elephant and thrown it off my back, you guys, I feel light as a feather. Absolutely carefree. I'm going to drink of water here. I do. And I don't worry about any of the things that I have written down in my journal, all the intuitive visions that I've been given about what is meant for me and the things that I wanted to manifest. They are showing up. And I can even see like events in my life situation that are being done in preparation for that. And so much is already manifested, by the way, right? I own 2 successful businesses. I've got 3 employees. I've coached over 7,000 spiritual students. I make a lot of money. I travel, right? So I know all that stuff is going to happen, all the other stuff that's going to be coming, but I don't worry about how it's going to come and when it's going to come. I know it's done. It exists on the mental plane, right? The universe is mind. Okay, and I've talked about that a lot on this channel. Just go check out my other videos. I'm always rapping on the science and how science is even explaining a lot of this stuff today. But so I know it's done. It's just, I don't know. Like, what do you do? What do you do before your miracle shows up? Just chill, man. Just live life. Like, here's a question I ask my students all the time. What if your thing shows up that you wanted to manifest, and then the first thing you do is fixate on the next thing that's supposed to come? What's the point of manifesting something if you're not going to slow down and enjoy it? This situation that I'm living in, I got a sticky note down here on my computer monitor. It says, just remember, 5 years ago, you dreamed about where you are now. I wrote that about 2 years ago. Right? So 7 years ago, I was flat broke. I didn't have enough money for a postage stamp. Totally unfulfilled in life. And I wouldn't say that I was at the end of my rope. I've always been a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, but definitely not satisfied. And I was in a relationship I didn't want to be in. Um, I had friends around me that were just users. You know what I mean? Working at a corporate job that was okay, but just okay. Living in a crappy little one-bedroom apartment. Guys, those days are long gone. And I dreamed about being here and I manifested it on purpose. And when an opportunity came along for me to make those changes in my life, I took it and I worked hard for it. You got to do the doing too, right? We talk about that on this channel. But now that I'm here enjoying my creation, what am I going to do? Focus on what's supposed to happen 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now? Why? Especially when I've been shown that it's done. I've been given those intuitive visions. I know it's coming and I believe it. I'm just going to enjoy myself. So, any urge for me to overly fixate and focus on those future goals and worry about them, it's so easy for me to pull back. I know that that's not me, that's the ego mind. So, I can go right back into my space of being. 80 to 90% of your Zen game. I said that wrong. 80 to 90% of your manifesting game is your Zen game. Just be, guys. Just enjoy life. Enjoy what you have now and be grateful for it and be grateful for the things to come too. Be grateful for what you have and be grateful for the things to come. Gratitude is such an easy go-to. Appreciation, you know, compassion, caring, right? But those are so easy. Those emotional states. You can cause yourself to feel emotions. Humans have this innate ability to do that. No other animal really can do that. Maybe whales or something, but basically humans, and then there's billions, hundreds of billions of other species of animals and insects on the face of the earth. They can't do that. All they can do is react to stimuli. You don't have to do that. You can cause gratitude and appreciation. So do that and be present. Learn the art of Zen. Watch Samadhi, again, down below. Watch the Neville Goddard video and read The Power of Now. And check out my other videos on the playlist. I'm trying to hook you up. You could also sign up for my paid coaching. It's not expensive. It's like 40 hours long. And you get more videos every 6 months for the first year for no additional charge. There's group coaching calls. You can talk directly to us. You guys, I got it all. I got the resources. I got the expertise. Change your life, guys. Check out my free stuff. Check out my paid stuff. Do something. You're powerful, guys. You are a creator. All right, that's it for this one. Have a great week.